I'm going to start out by creating a new document. I'm going to work on a 12 by 12 inch artboard, but you can use any size artboard that you want because we're going to be creating brushes and not really going to be exporting any assets. I'm going to be working in RGB color mode, but you can certainly work in CMYK as well. But just go ahead and open up whatever size artboard you typically use. Now that I've opened a document, I'm going to go ahead and create a simple teardrop shape. You can do that by going over to your tools bar, and if you click and hold down, then a little menu will pop out and you can click on the ellipse tool, and the keyboard shortcut for that is the letter L. Now I'm just going to go ahead and draw an elongated ellipse like that. I'm then going to go back and select my selection tool, which is keyboard shortcut V. And then I'm going to go ahead and recolor my oval here. So I want to make it green, and I don't want it to have any stroke. So I will turn that off. Now I want this to be more teardropped shaped, so I'm going to edit the anchor points on that. So I'm going to hit A on my keyboard, which will open up the direct selection tool. I'm going to select this very bottom anchor point and bring it up just a little. And I'd like to make this one be pointy, so I can click on that and come over here. I can convert the anchor point to a corner, but I'm going to go ahead and select that anchor point again and drag it upward. If I hold the shift key, then it will stay in alignment, and that's pretty good. And I'll hit V on the keyboard again. That's going to be my selection tool, and I'm going to click off for a moment. So there we have a very simple teardrop shaped green leaf. Now I'm going to go ahead and move that over to the corner, and we'll just go ahead and make it a little bit smaller. That's pretty good. Now when I go to draw or use the paintbrush to paint these leaves onto my canvas, I'm going to be starting at the base of the leaf and drawing out towards the point. That'll become pertinent in just a moment. So I'm going to select the green leaf, go over to my brushes window. If you don't have the brushes window available to you, you can just simply go to window and select brushes. And then click the little plus down here, which is going to give us a window to determine what type of new brush it is. There are 5 different types of brushes that you can create or use in Illustrator, and we're going to be working with the art brush in this lesson. So select art brush and then click OK. A new dialog box appears. We can give our brush a name. I'm going to call this one Green Leaf. I am working with a mouse and on my trackpad, not with a stylus, and so therefore the width is fixed, and I'm going to keep it at 100%, so you won't need to change any of that. The scaling options, it defaults to stretch to fit stroke length, and we're going to leave it at that. Direction is determining which way the brush stroke goes. You can go from right to left, left to right, bottom to top, and it defaults at top to bottom. But as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be going from bottom to the top. So I just want to click on the appropriate arrow. Right now we're going to leave the colorization at none, and we're not going to choose any of the other options. Click OK. And you'll see that the brush has been added to our window of brushes. So I'll click on that brush. Oops. I always do that. I'm going to hit undo, which is Command Z or Control Z. Because that was selected, it applied that brush stroke to my little shape, and I didn't want it to do that. So making sure nothing is selected, now I will choose the green leaf brush. B on my keyboard is the shortcut, or you can come over to the toolbar and choose the brush tool. And then I'm just going to create a stroke on my canvas. Actually, several strokes. I'm going to hit V on my keyboard again so that I'm back to my direct selection tool. And if I hit Command Y or Control Y, I will change mode to see what the outlines are. And you can see all those strokes are simply lines. Command Y or Control Y again will take you back to seeing your actual shape. What's really cool is that you can click on any of these strokes, and I'm going to change the color of my layer here because it's currently light blue and it is very difficult to see it against the green. And to do that, I'm just going to double click on the little layer icon, and let's change it to orange. Much easier to see. Now, if I select A on my keyboard, I will change modes to the direct selection tool, and I will be able to see that this stroke is made up of 2 anchor points. I can move them around. I can use the handles to manipulate how I want the leaf to go. And I can do that for all of them. Now, on this particular leaf, there are 3 anchor points. And I find that with this leaf shape, it sometimes is awkward, and you get weird things that happen where that middle anchor point is. So I usually remove those. If you hit the minus key on your keyboard, it will change to the subtract or delete anchor point. And I click on that and it deletes it. Hit A again to go back to the direct selection tool. And I'm back to selecting that. I can still get interesting shapes, but I just don't want that extra point in there. This one has quite a number of little points here. So let's hit the minus and take those out. There we go. Hit A again to come back. And we have our array of little leaves here. Now, if I want to change the color, let me change it back to our selection tool, which is V on the keyboard. And I go to my color window and make sure that I'm on the stroke. And let's say that I wanted to make this an orange leaf. It didn't change. Well, that is because our original leaf is green and we set the color mode to none. So no matter what color I change the stroke to, this leaf would stay green. In a later lesson, we'll be able to change the color. But for now, what you can do is select a leaf, go to Object, Expand Appearance. This now changes it from a stroke to a shape. And to see that, I'm going to hit Command Y, and you'll see that we no longer have a stroke, we have a shape, just like we have a shape with our original brush. Command Y again to come back. Now that that is a shape, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change to fill color. You can also do that by hitting X on your keyboard. And now if I want to make that leaf orange, I can. I can make it any color that I want. but only because it's expanded. And now that it's expanded, if I hit A for the anchor points, you can see there are a lot of anchor points. And if I go to move any of them, it will do weird things like that, which could be helpful, but at this particular moment, not so much. I'm going to undo that. Now, one of the things that I like to do after I expand a shape is go to Object, Path, Simplify. I use this so often, I've created my own shortcut for it. And now when I hit A, you see it has simplified it down to 4 points. They're not necessarily in the best position, but it's a lot less than the ones that they had before. All right. Now, what else can you do? While your leaf is still in a stroke, you can use some of these stroke tools to change how it looks. So right now, our stroke is 1 point. And if I make it a 2-point stroke, it broadens the leaf. And I can continue doing that and it becomes crazier. But actually, 2 points looks pretty good. I think we'll keep that. Let's take this leaf over here. We'll also make that 2 points. Sometimes when you do that, you'll notice it gets a little bit funky shaped. And I can manipulate that again. Oh, I have extra anchor points in there. Let me take those out. That's a little helpful. But notice as I change the handle around, I get some interesting shapes. I get contours. This way we have a nice round curve here, but a more pointed curve there. I can continue to manipulate this. But very quickly, I had a bunch of different leaves that I can move all around that took a lot less time to create than if I had to draw each individual shape by itself. And I love being able to use the handles to manipulate the leaf into exactly the shape and position that I want. And it's much more difficult to do that with a shape, even when you've gotten it down to just 4 anchor points, because now they all have to move in conjunction with each other. So this is drawing a simple leaf and some basics in manipulating that.